basically designed the whole project. We haven't submitted anything to EMR yet. We haven't finalized per se, but I do want to bounce this off of everybody, make sure that you're aware of the scope of the project. Give you an opportunity to ask questions, and we try to, and in this packet I believe there are the names of the property owners in the stapled one. So if you get to questioning, maybe somebody in particular in the ward has made a comment or a question or a concern, you can hit me with it and I can try to help. Where we're going to start is water main number 1. It's on the top of the page on along the tracks there, Little Rock Road. And
what are we doing there at water main number 1?
what we've done is we've identified basically six projects here, except for the different mains around town.
All right.
And we just started with that one as number 1.
So number 1's in the county.
It begins with a connection to the county,
Yeah.
the county water, that is, right out here. And we're picking up, there's an existing water main, a 4-inch, I believe, that runs across the tennis courts. Kind of heads towards the railroad tracks there along Little Rock Road. And what we're doing is taking all that 4-inch out of service. We're coming in with a new 8-inch main, working around the park, around the tennis courts, get down along the road, working along Little Rock Road.
Chris, one thing we might point out is the reason that one of the reasons these mains were picked is these are all anthracite asbestos lines, all the ones that are on this project, or these projects.
I think I might need that strip you talked about. I think I might just done. Yes, that's right. They're all deficient mains.
And for us to hook onto the county, we either go either way. Either they may need us or we may need them.
And we're already hooked to them.
Yes.
Is that the only place we're hooked to them?
No, there's 2 interconnects. There's one by Maxwell Hill Water Tower, and then there's this one down in front.
Is there any on this side?
And the hospital has a way they can go to the county.
Okay.
No, those are the only 2 interconnects.
Yeah, the sheriff's department's got it too.
The sheriff department, the hospital, the nursing home, Riverview by the park. Those 3 facilities also have county water and city water.
Well,
I apologize.
this is going to screw up. Is he ready?
If
Can I just plug it in or something?
if it happened, is that
Unplug it.
can those 2 lines
Yes, you're gonna have to,
supply enough
yeah.
for the city?
He'll have
You
to
know,
say.
I would say yes, under extreme water rationing conditions.
Okay.
You know, I mean, if it was to the point that something drastic happened and, you know, Mississippi Lime was shut off and some other people that pulling, you know, I would say that if Ron's system wells are all up and active, probably could sustain water, keep it, you know, maybe. I mean, we would probably have to, couldn't, but it's way better than none.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Might be on a boil advisory during the
And as far as us, for them, obviously, we couldn't supply enough for them, could we?
we could probably supply them more than they could us, I think.
Really? Okay.
I don't know the hydraulics of their system.
Stop that connection.
Are these numbered in priority?
They aren't.
It started, you may recall, and some of you, I'm trying to remember who was on the board. We started out with just doing a replacement for St. Mary's Road. And then the question was whether we would be better off designing the worst lines and using, the rate structure will support it, doing a financing so that we kind of took care of the ones that are costing us every year to try and patch because they break so frequently, and that would be money ahead. So that was the direction we chose, and that's kind of what you have here. On the agenda tonight is employing a financial consultant who will help us get the best rate on financing, and then look forward to construction this summer.
Would it, if you had a situation like '93, the flood, were these connections there then? But
It was 95 when they were put in.
But if you had that situation, could you do it? Could you switch the could you do it in that particular case where the city would end up having water? I mean, the city did have water then, but it was all contaminated.
That was the point of these coming in right after that, is our understanding.
Okay.
When talking with Ron at the Water District, that's when these connections, soon after that is when these connections came in. I think that one's being supplied by a 4-inch line out there. 4 inches of water, if he's full, is better than no water. The other one, is it on a 4-inch coming in too? So you have 2 4-inch lines coming in to your system now from the county. It's not gonna keep everybody in pressure. It's not, you'd be under a boil advisory during that time frame, but you would have water.
If in a situation like that where the system was, I guess, contaminated, certainly because the wells were under water, you have the ability to shut off whatever you want to shut off and not
Yes.
be able to contaminate.
Yes.
The
You could
system.
isolate sections of the town and bring it, under an emergency operating system, yes, we'd be isolating, and we'd have to be thinking about who needs water the most and all that stuff, if that situation ever came up again.
We might want to develop that plan somewhere along the line and take into consideration some of those scenarios if that happened. Of course, I guess if that happened in this case and say the levee broke, water would probably be the least thing we would be worried about. Because it would be a whole lot bigger mess than just water. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. Moving on down the road here. Most of this water main is totally within the city's property,
City park property. We do have a couple of parcels here that are not on the city property. The county is one of them.
Well,
And
that's, some of that where you're just talking about, it's just changed and it's neither one of us anymore, but I'm confident we can get the easements done without any
Black Rock,
problem.
but we addressed that yesterday.
Oh,
okay.
The school district now,
Oh, really?
well, we haven't beat it over yet.
So areas where we can and where we have the room, we're obviously going in the public right of way, no easements are required. In some areas we don't. This is one area that we're going to be seeking some easements to move forward.
Have you defined those easements?
no, we have not.
Okay, well, that might be something we need to do early, so we can get them, when we do deed the property to the school district.
Sure.
We can put them on the deed.
And I think we are to a point, unless somebody sees something here, you guys know things I don't. Living here and knowing what's going on out here. So if there's something here that's gonna change the location of the water main, this is where I'm gonna grab it, because you're right, when you get these easement documents put together, so you can start pursuing those. From there, we're coming over and tying back in the existing water system, so the storms will be all the way along the park. Properties here will be abandoned.
Hey, Steve, I just happened, because my name's on here, I know there's a fire hydrant sitting in the front yard at the daycare. Isn't there a 4-inch line that feeds that or something? Should that be on here?
That's your fire hydrant. I'm unaware of what size line that is.
But wouldn't it hook to this thing? It's hooked to something, obviously, right now.
To hook to the line they're gonna abandon.
There's a fire hydrant at the end of the driveway.
That reaches up into the park property, basically?
No, Valley mentioned that there's also a P and flush hydrant, further up towards the facility.
It all comes off that one main that we talked about when you were tying.
Yeah, that hydrant's shown, but it doesn't show it reconnecting to the
No,
8-inch line.
you're right. We actually were meeting earlier today and identified that as something we need to show on the plans.
Anything that's live now will be live when the project's over.
We won't disconnect anything and leave it that way. Fire hydrants will be replaced, upgraded. A lot of these fire hydrants have been there a long time. Valving, that's a lot of what we're doing today is talking about hydrants and valves, what do we need to put things to your point. So if we have to isolate an area, we don't shut off a large number of users to do that. So, project one, anybody, any other thoughts or concerns?
If we're replacing an existing line, we still have to have easements to do that? Isn't there an easement with the existing line already?
Well,
Potentially,
except it's being rerouted. So you're paralleling.
yeah, that's right. One of our biggest challenges when we're replacing existing lines, obviously, is that we need to keep it in service while we're building the new. So we have the service connections for each user that has to be transferred over. So it's always a challenge. Doing a project right now in DeSoto, we're doing just what you said. We're putting it right back where an old line was, and boy, it's a chore.
And some of those easements are 10 foot wide, and when you go to doing construction, you gotta have more. So
At least another
we
5
need some
feet.
temporary
Yeah.
construction type easements too.
Okay, the second main that we're looking at here is on 8th Street. Short section, I want to say it's about 500 or 600 feet.
Can I come with one other thinking of the trail? It won't hurt that it looks like, from what I remember, part of the trail may be sitting right on top of this, no big deal.
On 8th Street?
No,
No.
up on by the park, on project one, looking at,
Have you seen the trail
Right
plans?
here, is this what you're talking about?
There's a new trail project
the new trail.
that will be on that side of the road.
this that you're referring to?
Not the
Something
existing,
else.
it's
No.
not.
Oh, the future trail.
Yeah, the one we've been working on for 100 years now.
It won't hurt, until
It breaks.
yeah.
Okay. We gotta make sure that, and I don't know how close we are to going out to bid on that, but obviously we want this done before we do that one.
Pretty close. The engineer services contract is being reviewed by DNR as we speak. When they approve that, I'll bring it to your attention for approval, and we're ready to go.
But we gotta put it off.
No.
At least this.
Well, we need to
part.
coordinate that work with this work.
Okay.
And obviously, we're not gonna do that before this.
This is going in the street, this one here?
I'm sorry?
This is going in the street,
Yes, it is.
right next to our brand new sidewalk.
Right next year, we were talking about that earlier today. It is, we have the utility complex, one thing that we're really wrestle with in the older parts of town, we have to maintain a minimum 10-foot separation from sanitary sewer lines.
Right.
And there is a sanitary sewer running here. The existing water main is right there in the same easement location as the one we're locating in there. Yes, they're gonna have to protect that sidewalk. And quite frankly, there's other areas that we're gonna talk about where there's some older retaining walls and older structures there that are fairly brittle, that are probably even more fragile than, say, a new
Oh, yeah.
sidewalk. So, that's one of the things we're gonna have to stress, and I've noted that, I will make sure we put big notes out there for the contractor that he's got to protect this stuff.
Yeah, we gotta do this one during the summer. Or we'll have a big mess, try to do this during.
Is that the one with the school?
This is, yeah, that's the one we talked
I've
about.
got a big note on there, summer work, no school, so.
Yeah.
And that might change up the phasing, you know, it's one of the first jobs.
2 inches. Probably so. Yeah. 9th Street also, yeah.
Ninth Street's the same way?
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
school buses,
Yeah, that's our
heavy.
main thoroughfare for the buses.
Any other thoughts or concerns on A Street? So Ninth Street has the same issues with the school
Yeah.
buses.
But no additional easements are needed on 8th or 9th Street.
That's correct.
Yes.
Nice, I know that.
On 8th, you're only coming down to Jefferson Street, you're not going over to Market, right?
That's what it's showing, yeah.
There's no water main between Jefferson and Market.
Oh, there ain't?
on the-
There's factory right there, well,
2-inch line runs down the road. Just their service on the road now.
in the street,
On the curb.
no houses too. Or no, across the street from the factory. All right.
Thoughts or concerns there? Again, those two projects will be working down the middle of the street, and just from experience, they could run into something that moves that main over a few feet. Just it'll no circulation in the right way.
And the extent of this project of fixing the street is just cutting the street and replacing and fixing the cut,
Yes.
right? Right.
And we'll, as it is right now, we're planning on bridging the trench itself with concrete, so there won't be, and a lot of times you may notice when you drive in the streets, you'll see a trench settlement out there, you won't have that issue. Four is, it runs along 7th and, I may butcher this, Gabori? Is that correct?
Gabourey.
Gabourey.
There you go.
Laughing today, from Washington, which is an old German Catholic town, and I always butcher names, so I've got a fighting chance here with your names, but still, I may,
You ain't French, are you?
no.
I was saying, Gabourey is not German.
No, it's
No.
not. So, this one has some challenge to it. The car lot owner,
What should he sit
Right
I'm
here.
thinking a lot of that's been replaced.
I was gonna, obviously, we're gonna need to, the biggest challenge with this, and this is what I'm thinking, I'm glad you're here, we can bounce this off you firsthand. We're gonna need a 10-foot easement, obviously, for the water main. We're also gonna need a temporary construction easement, because all the materials are gonna have to be brought in from one end or the other. We can't offload right next to it, because of the tracks. And so we need somewhere to stage. And so actually, if you're lot here, I thought that might be an opportune place to stage, to run this length, at least to here. So,
There you go.
might ponder that one if you be.
Last time I just opened up the gate and it went right on through.
No, really?
Yeah, when they put the sewer, but I'm thinking they put new water lines when they did the sewer.
Like I said, I know there's a portion of PVC on that one end,
Yeah.
but I
You
don't
mentioned
have any
that.
record of how far it goes.
And we don't think it goes all the way through on that one little end there.
I don't remember what they did.
It's an 8-inch,
Right?
Quarter.
the existing line.
Yeah.
Even if it's new, it's undersized.
Yeah.
So there'll be a challenge here, obviously, we're going to try to minimize impacts, avoid trees, avoid issues with, coming through your fences and your lot, we're going to put that back. And we have a creek crossing down here, we're not real sure where some of the utilities are down here.
Like,
You know, we,
kind of figured
this is
this
just an aside, but we have some drainage issues right there, at the track.
up in here, or?
Just
all
down by
along that
Gabourey.
section?
Back by the creek. The,
There's tracks run through here, Discovery's over here. So what we said.
We go to the next slide. That's all right.
well, it's right in front of John's property.
In front of Don Wilkes' house?
And we've talked about it, they're in front of,
Falsely?
Lucent, where the ditch comes down and then
Well, that's,
hits its culvert, tries to make a 90 and speed.
That's right there. That's
That'd be right there in front of,
far right here.
far left, the other side.
Over here.
Oh, okay.
Right there.
Maybe take a look at, if you take a look at doing a little design work for us, and it might be a perfect time to solve
Time to
it.
do it all.
Hmm?
Might be a perfect time to do it all.
It won't be cheaper than when the guy's got a backhoe out in the field.
Yeah.
Right.
Steve can take you down there and show you that.
Okay, sure. But that's really, otherwise this is wide open digging. In theory, that's probably the easiest section to lay out there, but again, we're just crossing private property, and the materials I have, like I said, brought in and run full length of the easement to get to wherever they're working. Coming along Gabourey, as I mentioned, where this old culvert is, or box culvert underneath the road, there's the sewers coming through there somewhere. I think we pretty well have all that figured out. And the water main, we know we're running right here on the edge of pavement somewhere. But we're planning on staying out of the pavement all the way along Gabourey until we get to Seventh. Of course, the Seventh, we're gonna have to get back in the street. And that's gonna run all the way up to the tie-in. And I know, I'm pretty sure this is where one of those older retaining walls is located in Seventh.
Really?
I may have,
Oh, it's 7.
that's not right.
Maybe I was looking at South Gabourey.
No,
You can see that over on
it's on
Seraphim.
Seraphim. That's what it's at.
Yeah, Sarah.
Yeah, you're
That's
gonna
a
run
old
into a
stone
couple,
wall.
yeah. Probably gonna run into two of them, one on both sides of the street, I think.
So we're gonna be in the street there as well. Any thoughts or concerns here?
Who knows, probably.
Sounds like you got it.
Moving on to Triangle Drive.
It's out there off the triangle.
Just north of the Flash.
The businesses, what's,
That's
That's
still
the
Flash
restaurant,
Cafe,
Flash.
Rings.
St. Genevieve Cafe.
I figure that would be landmark if
The parking lot you see on the top left corner is the care center.
they were this.
Nursing home.
The main thing here, we do have a lot of asphalt here crossing.
That's Highway 61 there.
Well, the asphalt, he's talking about is Jamie's parking lot.
Oh, I
Yes. You know, everywhere we're underneath the asphalt, we need to go back with grain or backfill. It's just more expensive section of what I mean to build. Is there any points of interest there, Steve?
On the right side where the connection is on Chadwell Lane. That connection is gonna be right on the edge of the highway. So,
In the right of way,
It actually is in the right.
so we'll need MoDOT permit for that. I thought Dave called me asking permission to submit this to DNR. Did that not occur?
Honestly, I don't know.
But I said yes, I didn't want to slow it down while waiting for us to look at it.
Sure.
So maybe it has.
It hasn't been submitted, but I think the plans are probably, like I said, I looked at a couple of sheets there. I think they're probably fine to send on to get that done. Permitting right out through DNR is pretty quick. So, with the easement acquisition coming on yet, and I think we're predicting fine in that regard.
Couldn't envision us making any substantive changes.
To, like all these along Triangle Drive, is that all in the right of way, or is that big easements for all those people? I guess I'm on your next page.
B5B here.
That
It's
is
all in
all
the
in
right of
right-of-way.
way. See the right of way line at the bottom?
Oh, okay, yeah, got it.
That's a little driveway to cross.
Yes.
Is this corner property on Terrace and Triangle, is that still county or did that become city? Moses old place.
You need that orchard.
We don't
It's
own it.
still the county. That's the housing authority bought?
Yeah. Oh, they bought that?
Well, yeah.
Maybe.
Uh,
It's a long story.
I mean, does this fix the problem they had with being connected to city water and all that stuff, or does this, has all that been solved?
I mean,
ever,
that
or-
corner piece,
Yeah.
that's all Old history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a real classic situation here where, yes, we're in the right of way, so we have a legal right to jump in there and kind of do whatever we want, but as far as the homeowners are concerned, that's their front yard you're digging up.
Yeah.
Well, we're not gonna do it without talking to them.
No, I understand. It just means that these take even more hand-holding than the street projects. We need to make sure we communicate well. We need to make sure we let them know, and if there's a tree there, or a flower box, or whatever might be there, we have to make sure our contractor is cleaning up well behind himself.
It's only one big tree.
So, that's just one of those scenarios where we need to really make sure we're staying up on them. And here we're getting over to connection back to the county, correct?
Who owns that corner right there in front of Tom's Open house?
That's,
Where?
I think it's right over
Is that all right away? This is your house.
Like right there where Frank.
Yeah, most of that's owned by the state.
Yeah.
Frank
That's
first
what
was.
it says.
We'll get back together.
Yeah, they own most of that right there.
Okay.
I knew they owned this. That's two good chunks though. He's taking care of it.
Steve just pointed out, this section through here is all new. There's currently no water main there today. This, we're taking the opportunity to loop system back to 12 inch.
The current water main dead ends at that last house there.
Loops are, loops are good.
Shadow. Pretty good shadow.
So, you build this and you charge it, and then you come back and do the connections?
Correct.
Now, that's all in the contract, right?
Oh, yes.
You don't have to, you're not doing any of that?
No.
They will be supervising it closely.
What we hold.
And again, one of the main things we have to watch, because when they build the line, we chlorinate it. Let it sit for a certain period of time, pull samples, so to make sure it's passed bacteriological test. Takes time, so we need to maintain service to the customers while all this is going on, and finally flush it, and then hook them up to the new line once it's live. So it's kind of a coordination dilemma at times.
Do they, when they do it, do they put valves at every one of them where the connection's gonna be, and then?
For the service connections?
Yeah.
Yes, they'll put a saddle on the main, that'll be what we call a corporation stop right there.
Yeah.
Those usually wind up buried, and then that goes from there to the meter setter, or of course there's valves there as well. So. Any thoughts or concerns there? And finally, St. Mary's and Seraphim. Here again, we're back in the street. As I mentioned, we do have some areas in here with some older retaining walls, rock walls.
Not in that area.
Am I on the wrong end of it?
It's okay, good.
No, that's right at Fourth Street.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, that's right
Yeah,
in this
there's-
area, yeah.
There's one on the end of Fourth Street.
And you got one there at Inman's house.
Yeah. Which one is that? Yeah.
Smith, I said Inman.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
The road over here for you.
Well, you know,
Excuse me, I was
could be wrong.
thought I had that.
Yeah. That's gonna be an issue. Yeah, no.
Oh, that's it.
Nothing to go to the fourth sheet,
Yeah.
you can see where it crosses the road and goes to the other side.
Oh, really? So we're gonna bypass that.
We're crossing the street here. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I didn't know. I knew it was on the control line. At night? Oh.
You guys already figured that out.
And we actually get out on the road.
Well, you had pointed that out to me,
Right.
and so then I forwarded it on to them that we needed to make that.
So what's the difference between the hatching, you're out in the road here, and the crosshatch shows the granular, I guess. Is what-
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Then we get over here, and it changes. Does that mean anything, or is it just the drawing? See how it goes from that, and then all of a sudden,
Well, this is actually not under the road.
that isn't, but it is back here.
Yes. So this
And
hatching
that
is.
looks different from that.
Oh, it's just a different type of hatching, maybe? Yeah.
Is it,
But it's-
we're not changing anything.
No,
Design.
no, it'd be the same construction. And then we get down on St. Mary's. This is some historical concerns as well as lots of utilities. We're actually out from underneath the street. running along the west side to a point, and then we eventually cross over and get out on the bottoms. We were around the big cottonwoods or monstrous trees out in there.
So you going on the other side of the drainage field?
On the other side of the levee that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna be in the field. Is that where it is now?
No,
It's in the street, right?
it's in the other side of the street now, but we got a sewer line, we gotta keep that 10-foot separation. That sewer line runs pretty much across the top of that levee.
Does it? We don't have many people to deal with, and you got a big field.
So this is gonna require easements.
Yes.
Get rid of the water barn.
A lot of it's ours here.
Or all
Yeah,
those
looks
service,
like it's joint
all those
levee.
service connections, yeah, go across the street. Go
No,
back across
you
the
got
street.
Herman and Margaret.
We're abandoning that line,
Margaret.
correct?
Yeah, the lines, the service lines have to run across,
We'll have to cut the
Under-
street for every one of those service connections?
They can push,
push,
they're small diameter and they can literally, hydraulic equipment, they can just push a hole right through the street with that size line.
What are they?
3/4.
Big old trees.
Yeah, but they're,
Typically, as long as it's outside the grid line of trees, you don't anticipate any issue. We'll probably also look at burying that main a little deeper through there, just to do the farming operation, in case he's chiseling pretty deep.
How hard will it be to get an easement from the church, you think, for the property on the end? Didn't the church own some of that property?
who?
Yeah, they do.
Roman Catholic Church, congregation. There's a process, you know. it's-
Okay. Other than that, I think there's only like one more landowner besides the city on that side of the road.
Yeah, it says church right there.
Yeah, it's Margaret and,
Okay, well, this might be wrong.
Look,
It says Roman Catholic congregation.
We probably donated it to them. Like you think?
Herman and Margaret, and I can't read it, it starts with a B.
Beckley?
Beckley. Nine?
Yeah, but do you see where there's like a change in color? Maybe it's just that, and then we're not even
This could be a change in lane right here.
going.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, so we're not
See,
even going
this-
there.
We don't get to there.
Right, so you stop before
Yeah,
that.
but this land right here in the record right now.
There you go.
Another meeting with finance committee.
Is it one that doesn't?
Well, we went through, talking to the church about buying them right away. Interesting conversation we had.
So, best case scenario, when should we get started?
Well,
Test and work.
I'm glad you asked, because you actually reminded me of this approach.
the financing is gonna be the driver on starting. They'll finish the design, they finish the design. They get DNR's approval before we have the financing together, so I'm hoping, May, middle May.
And the financing and easement acquisition, as long as,
Well,
We could do the 89th Street, so.
yeah, I think that's what we do first.
Yeah, I think we have to.
Yeah, you'll have to.
And then, we'll have a good handle then on what the trail construction timing looks like, and we can decide whether that's next or one of the others is next to get ahead of that work.
So we put in place a rate structure that was adopted like 3 years ago when we started working through this to pay back $1 million loan for the project. And that was like 3 years ago. So this project's a little larger than that. I think it's like 1.25, some 1.3. And that's why it was broken out into 6 projects in case the bids come in too much. You know, if we have to eliminate to make it fit. But, you know, we're pretty confident that the rate structure's still in place to make the debt service payments on, you know, $1.25 million or whatever the project is.
Yeah, I mean, there could be glitches along the way that
Yeah.
cause us to maybe not do a section.
Yeah, and that's why it's broke out into 6 sections, in case, hey, we need to back this one out.
Then we have to talk about kind of the bidding schedule.
Yeah.
Since we want to bid them all at one time, a single contractor, we want to break them out into multiple projects.
I would recommend that we bid them all
Well,
as one project with individual line items on each.
the problem is the contractor could only hold his price for so long, so if
Yeah.
you bid them all out, and it's a project that's going to take a year to complete, you can't.
Well, we can make the project length whatever we want it to be, and that means he has to throw more workers at it. You know, instead of just having one crew working over here, you might be doing 9th Street and St. Mary's at the same time. I mean, we can decide, you know, however you guys want to do that. Chris, what do you think the estimated time would be for, construction for a job this size? 120 days?
I was gonna say at least 100 days.
I mean,
Well, let's do this, let's work out a schedule to recommend on bidding, and in the order of the work, and get the input from the board,
Sure.
and then everybody will sign off on it, and we'll proceed.
I think one contractor, in my
I think you get your best.
you get your best product with one contractor, you get your best price with one contractor, and then there's no confusion of who did what. You got multiple dump trucks running in town, making a mess, multiple people, there's no confusion. One contractor typically has a cleaner project with a better price. The difference is that sometimes elected people need to think about once in a while is, if the project got outside of the scope of size that local firms couldn't bond the job or something, if that's a concern, but you still get a better price. That'd be my 2 cents worth.
And it's interesting time to do it right now. The economy is done well.
Yeah.
Without a period of time.
$1 million and a quarter, not a big bonding crop for most companies.
You would, if they're gonna do a job.
It'd be a pretty small company that
Yeah,
can't.
if they're gonna do a job in St. John, you would hope that they could bond that, you know, yes.
Since they're phased out, we can choose those alternates, accept alternates.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. What were we discussing right before you brought that up? What were we discussing right before you brought that up?
Roll call, please.
Mayor Grimminger?
Here.
Alderwoman Codwell? Here. Alderman Couch? Alderman John Stupi?
Here.
Alderman Jokers?
Here.
Alderman Donnie Stupi? Alderman Hook?
Here.
Alderman Prince?
Here.
Alderman Ross?
Here.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Approval of agenda.
Move approval. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Martin, I will go on to your report.
Okay, you probably read in the paper about Ed and Lauren Moore getting a award from the state for the restoration of the Francois Bernet House. So we attended that ceremony, and it was kind of a good thing. We all talked about who's going to be next from St. Genevieve. It looks like we're there every 2 years. Good. And I think he's sitting next to me.
Yeah.
I met with Sanford Brown. He signed a contract. Sanford Roth. He signed a contract. So he's ready to start and has 90 days to complete the work. He's already talking to the neighbors and doing what a good contractor should do, is make sure that he's coordinating it with everybody. We're insured by Missouri Public Risk. I've mentioned this before. It's kind of it's a cooperative, and they provide a lot of services, and we take advantage of those services. Their representative who was here, we talked about some things, but this spring they're going to come in and do a full safety audit. They did one about, Steve, 2 years ago? Yeah. So every couple of years they come in and meet with the staff and look at our facilities and kind of make sure that all of our procedures are good and to avoid future losses. I attended that meeting of the seismic presentation, the earthquake presentation the other night, and just kind of for your information, the scientist from the University of Illinois was very interesting, and I learned a lot. But I also learned what I already knew, and that is they have no clue when the next seismic event's going to occur. We did learn about the St. Genevieve fault, which everybody thought was something new. Well, it's not something new. They just haven't talked about it, and it's not a major issue. But a lot of the events that we have really aren't the New Madrid fault. They're this kind of minor fault acting up a little bit. But from that, kind of the most important thing I think that I'd like to convey to this board and to the citizens watching is since they don't know, they have recommendations for preparation, and anyone who's interested in finding out what a good preparation would be can go to the State Emergency Management website. It's SEMA.dps.mo, and follow the link to earthquakes and preparation. They're recommending that you have enough water and food and whatever to go 90 hours without hearing from anybody. But after that, they think the people, emergency management folks, can probably get to you and get information to you or help you out. The other thing they talked about that I really hadn't thought about was natural disasters leave a lot of debris, and they found out in Joplin they didn't know where to take all this stuff. So the state's going around plotting out where they can take debris after a disaster in every county in the state, and they're going to hopefully be better prepared. PIVA is moving into the building. We had to do some minor plumbing repairs, but those were done. We knew they were there. They're making great progress. We had our first Heritage Commission meeting Monday night. We still have a opening on that board. So anyone who's has some knowledge of construction or interested in building or historic preservation should contact us for consideration. But at that meeting, Petrie reported 2 administrative approvals, which is a new feature. And one of them was for a window replacement at 164 North 4th. She was taking out windows and putting in windows of the same material that was already there. So there wasn't any reason why she should have to go before a commission to get approval. And so Petrie signed off on it, and I signed off on it, and she was given her building permit. The other one is at 25 North 4th. There's some concrete stairs to this building. This is right across from the high school, and where we approved a studio in the front 2 rooms for her. And she's going to overlay that with wood, and it's going to end up looking more like the original stairs would have looked, and with putting in adequate handrails and fall protection. So again, that was like, why would you have to come to a meeting to get that approved? You approved my we're we'll have on approval of the WM financial strategies. I presented that to you. Kind of did some fee negotiation. She had it front loaded where there was money up front. I told her I don't pay for services I haven't received, so we negotiated some phasing of her work. So she didn't have to wait till the end, but I wasn't giving her any money up front. The levy district has been meeting over this hydraulic lift system. They got that in. It was like, whoa. It was way higher than they expected. Turns out the contractor was kind of bidding kind of all the work in the worst case scenario and whatever. So they ended up kind of designating him the low contractor, engaging him in conversation, and came up with a time and materials approach so that they don't pay for more than they get, and I think that's going to work out well for them. We go to these meetings with Mississippi Lime and kind of tell them what we hear and what we think and kind of what our wish list is. And one of the things that we talked to them about, I don't know, a year ago, was the condition of the sign there on their property. It has the Bull Duke House on it. And they've agreed to pay for having that renovated, and that work should be starting soon, and it's going to get a fresh coat of paint. And they're not changing the design or anything; just going to bring it up to date. Pam attended the the City Clerks Association meeting this week and received an award as the Everyday Hero for her good work.
For the Southeast Division. Thank you.
And there's no more deserving city clerk. That's my opinion. And finally, in my conversations with this Missouri Public Risk, I discovered something. Every year, there's a problem with the French Heritage Day people getting insurance, and the rural heritage getting insurance, and apparently there's a little-known state statute that exempts in towns of 10,000 people or less, exempts these groups from liability if the event is somehow sponsored by the city. And there's some little rules you have to do. They got to have a sign, and they got to have the cities on their literature. But if you establish that sponsorship, the city doesn't accept it. There's no liability on the part of the city, nor is the group liable, except for their negligence, obviously, if they do something wrong or if we did something wrong. I read that. It's really not very complicated, and so. I think that's was a good find for the groups that are trying to do things that will attract people to our town.
Wouldn't you defect too?
It would.
Oh, John, there's,
Who's liable?
That's what I was wondering.
Well, we're kind of extending our sovereign immunity to the group. Now, sovereign immunity doesn't protect you against liability for negligence. So if something happens, then you didn't adequately provide for safety, then the person who didn't adequately provide for safety would be liable.
Did you talk to Frank about that?
Oh yeah, we're not going to do it without.
Right.
I'm not just.
It sounds good.
John, what do they, that's a pretty big expense for them every year, isn't it?
I would think.
Oh, yeah. But,
Yeah.
I know lawyers on it.
Well, and
It doesn't matter.
sure the Fed gets it, but the French, I don't know what they call it now. It's not French Heritage anymore.
French Festival.
French, they almost couldn't get it. I mean, it's just nobody wanted to write it for one day, this group. I mean, it's just hard for them to get.
Yeah. That's probably not a big deal for the smaller ones.
That completes my report.
Sure.
Is Peeves still on track for what, April, May?
I happen to be over there today, as a matter of fact, and I asked that same thing. He said, they were hoping for June, but now with the equipment, lead times on equipment, it's probably going to be the end of June, first part of August. They've painted all the offices. I think they're getting carpeting in next week so they can actually sit and then come in and set their offices up. I think they got office equipment in, and they're still looking for racking and all that kind of stuff, but I think the major equipment, the lead times is only like in May, June, first part of June. So I think they're looking at hopefully being production. He told me today, end of June, first part of August. So that's where they're at.
Yep.
Anything else?
I met with someone from Mississippi Line about 2 weeks ago, and I forgot to bring this back. This is my fault. We had a conversation about Little Rock Landing and what it looked like up there. And I told him we were not real happy with it. I don't think anyone's real happy with the way it looks. He interested me that they would gladly give some money and some labor to help clean that up and dress that area up. He said, I'm going to kind of put that in your court right now, find out who the property belongs to. He said, I know we own some of the property, but he said, we don't own it all. So he said, find out who that belongs to. He said, and we're there to work with you.
Okay.
Well, we know who it belongs to.
Okay.
Because cleaning it up was part of this trail grant.
Yeah, okay.
Getting the easement or a lease or something from the railroad was a legal problem that caused us to have to amend the grant, to take that out of the grant because we couldn't get, they wouldn't give us the easement. Now, they might work with Mississippi Line.
I think they would, the way it sounds, if we're talking to this guy, yeah, I think they.
But it's
I think they have
Burlington Northern
Yeah.
is the owner, and of course, Mississippi Line does business with.
Is Burlington Northern and Santa Fe both the same, or are
Yeah,
they
it's the same.
separate? Okay, all right.
And there is also, in the community foundation, there is an account
Yeah.
set aside for, and I think it's got, last time I looked, I think it's $6,000 or something,
Yeah.
sitting there just for that.
Yeah, he was well receptive to doing something up there and getting that taken care of.
The explanation they gave us was that they didn't want to encourage any more traffic crossing their railroad than they had to have, so that a parking lot, for instance, to them looked like something that would encourage traffic. Something like this, I think, it could be addressed as a safety concern,
Yeah.
and safety's their
The only
big
thing,
issues.
the only thing from the person from Mississippi Line told me, he was not really receptive to having picnic benches and stuff sitting out there because they were afraid about when they were loading lime, if some of that lime would blow over and somebody would get upset. And I said, well, I didn't know we were talking about picnic benches to begin with, okay? So, but I think this is worth, looking into and see if we can't get something done up there. Maybe.
We had, God, it's been several years ago, even I think before the trail came up, Ron Inman, they were interested, Ty Rock was interested in doing some things, certainly to
Yeah.
make it look better with his involvement with the ferry.
Mhm.
Mississippi Line was in on the conversation, and I think that's even how that fund got started with the community foundation. So, yeah, and we've certainly had residents come, well, when we were talking about the trail and
Yeah.
some of their,
No,
how crappy it looks coming across the
Sandra
river.
points out that people who come from out of town want to see the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
They say, where can we see the river?
Yeah.
So, it'd be nice to
Like I
have
said,
an
this
access.
person was real receptive to whatever we can do, so they would help out. Okay.
Well, their influence with the railroad might be the
Yeah,
biggest
I
thing.
think it would help a lot. Yeah. Okay.
Anything else? Okay. Any committee reports, anybody? All right, we'll go to the minutes of February the 26th.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? And the minutes for the closed meeting of 26th.
Move to approve?
Second.
There we go. I need to send an email out this week. Okay, resolution,
Do we need to have?
We didn't vote on that.
We didn't vote on it, okay. We had a motion.
We had a motion.
Oh, all in favor? I'm sorry.
Aye.
Opposed? A little too fast. Okay, resolution 2015-21. A resolution reappointing Mark Follick to the St. Genevieve Industrial Development Authority Board.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 2015-22, a resolution reappointing Ed James to the St. Genevieve Industrial Development Authority Board.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 2015-23, a resolution reappointing Ed Millinger to the St. Genevieve Community Access Channel 990-991.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Old business, bill number 4016, second reading.
An ordinance approving the budget amendment to the City of St. Genevieve fiscal year 2015 budget relating to the Valley Springs TIF Fund budget number 40.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Codwell.
Yes.
Alderman John Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Jokers.
Yes.
Alderman Hook.
Yes.
Alderman Prince.
Yes.
Alderman Ross.
Yes.
6 yes, 0 no's, 2 absent. Bill number 4016 now becomes ordinance 3956.
Thank you. Bill number 4020, second reading.
An ordinance of the City of St. Genevieve, Missouri authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Community Center Foundation of St. Genevieve County, extending the final payment date on the TIF increment financing note to December 18, 2015.
Move approval. Second.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Ross.
Yes.
Alderman Prince.
Yes.
Alderman Hook.
Yes.
Alderman Jokers.
Yes.
Alderman John Stupi.
Yes.
Alderwoman Codwell.
Yes.
6 yes, 0 no's, 2 absent. Bill number 4020 now becomes ordinance 3957.
Thank you. New business, bill number 4021, first reading.
An ordinance authorizing the City of St. Genevieve to enter into an intergovernmental cooperation agreement for the investment of public funds through the Missouri Securities Investment Program.
I'd like to point out that Frank Elpers and I had a conversation today. He reviewed it and found it acceptable.
Does this mean that we automatically use them, or they're just part of our process
We're
of
jo-
figuring out the best
We're
rates?
joining their association, so when and they'll bid, like we have CDs come due. Right now, all I'm willing to do is have them quote CD
Okay.
rates for
So this
us.
ordinance just allows them to quote for us,
Correct.
not that we will absolutely use them.
Yeah, I'm not convinced.
Okay.
I like putting city money at risk on investment.
This is one of the
Programs.
people we met with that one evening, was it?
They came in and presented, yeah.
Good. Okay.
But right now, they're just agents who will quote CD rates.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Bill number 4022, first reading.
An ordinance of the City of St. Genevieve authorizing the mayor to enter into a financial advisory agreement with Joy A. Howard, doing business as William Financial, OWM, Financial Strategies, to act as financial advisor as set forth in the attached agreement.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, public comments, anyone?
Jimmy, this is where you come up, buddy. Get up to the podium and introduce yourself.
We're gonna put you under next under other business, so since there weren't any public comments, you're up.
Okay, well, my name is James Donzie, or Jimmy. I am the president of the St. Genevieve Municipal Band, and it was brought to my attention that the board had some questions for me, and I'm here to answer.
I don't think there was a whole lot of questions, Jim. I just like when we approve a budget for someone, I like for them to be here, okay? And say, you know, this is what we're asking for, and this is what we want. And at the same time, when we had this on there, no one showed up on ordinance number 4015. No one showed up to explain.
That was on the 26th.
I think it was, Jim, yeah.
Something came up at work, it didn't allow me to attend the meeting, and I didn't get a chance to contact anybody. We had a job that needed to ship the next day, and I had to stay until it was finished.
That's fine, and that's, that's good. The only thing, you and I have talked 2 or 3 times since this, and I hope I reiterate this for the board, we're not trying to take anything away from you at all. I don't think we are we? No, I think we're happy with what's going on. My only question was, and we talked about this last night, is there something else we can be doing? A couple of other concerts for more than what we're getting right now. You know what I'm saying? I know people love going to the desert. I think that's fine. And this has been going on since 1953. Everybody loves it. Don't want to take that away. It's great. But I wonder if there's not a couple other things we could do to do something differently.
Sure. What I will tell you is I will not make a decision on my own. I will talk to the muni band board, and we can throw some ideas around.
Okay.
And come up with some questions, answers, and some ideas for you if you'd like.
I'd like that a lot. I
We
really
can do
would.
that. Is there anything in particular that you're
we hear the
towards,
same
or
thing
do you
over
have
and
any-
over again.
Do you have any ideas?
Which I've heard since 1985, that we don't do anything for the kids in St. Genevieve. We never have a concert for them, we never do a thing for them.
Okay,
And maybe this is something we need to look at, Jim.
okay.
All right.
And my thought is maybe not a full concert, but maybe some performances for people who can't get to the desert, like at the nursing homes.
Yeah. Okay.
Jim, one thing that I've had comments over the last couple of years since it's changed, and and maybe we just need to talk some more about how we can accommodate the band to do it, but the 4th of July, you having your concert in the desert and not up at the park, I get comments of why isn't the band in the park anymore? And sure, there are issues about driving across the baseball field, and it seems like that's the only place that the band wants to play or can play. Can we work out something else for them to play on the 4th of July up in the park? It just seems like it's something, at least people come to me and they say, hey, there's something missing up here, that they're not playing up here before the fireworks display. And I can understand certainly the field as far as even driving across it, if it's a little bit wet, or unless it's perfectly dry, you could easily put ruts in it and it really screw up a baseball game. But is there anything else that could be done for the band to be able to play in the park?
I talked to my vice president, Roger Martin, and after I discussed it with you, I guess late last summer,
Yeah.
I brought it up to him, and I think we're going to go up to the city park sometime before the 4th of July and look at a feasible place. The only requirement we have is a little bit of electricity. We were maybe kicking around the idea of maybe doing it on the soccer field, on a flat level part of the soccer field. That was thrown around. It is under discussion.
Okay.
It's one of the issues that we're bringing up at our band meeting, which we're going to have another one on the 20th.
Okay.
Jimmy, what about, and I might be way off here, what about the parking lot in between the softball field and the baseball field? That not going to work out?
Well, I mean,
Parking wise, is that going to be a problem?
No, because I don't think they really want people parking there anyway, just because of because of the ashes that come down from the fallout from the fireworks. But it's kind of out of with most of the people sitting on the north end of the park, so to say, on that hill, you'd be kind of out of, you really can't see.
Okay.
The soccer field is probably a great idea, and you got those meter bases there that I'm sure we could make sure that there's a meter base, a big one right there, that we could make sure that you had the power there.
We would only need 2 110 outlets to power what we have. So
there's plenty right there on that pole. So if that would work out, it would be, I think, a nice addition to put that back up there if possible.
Now, I do know the first year, which was 2 years ago, we didn't play at the park was because it had rained.
Right.
And we weren't allowed on the field. And last year, the board voted to just play it at the desert. So, we have talked about it, and I think we're gonna go back to the city park.
Okay.
It's just a matter of finding a feasible location of having the performance.
Great, okay. Whatever we can do to help you, we'll try to accommodate you.
Okay. Anything else? Any more questions?
Somebody needs to refresh my memory on the budget here, where last year, of the same amount of money, the $47,000, 8,000 of that was appropriated to grants, and now this year there's only $37.50, and I can't remember what happened there during budget time.
Increased the pay to the musicians.
Okay. So that can't come out of, like, interest of the CD reserve or from some other place so that that grant money is still available?
CD could be used for,
Okay.
I mean, you don't want to, you could use it up. I think we've had this conversation with the board. There's no real reason for the band fund to have a savings account, because you're supposed to spend the money on music. But you do want to create some capital, because from time to time, they need to replace equipment, and they need to replace music, and...
Well, I think, Martin, and I'll go back to years ago, we talked about putting up a band shelter in the park, and that we were gonna save some of that money and do that. And we, you know, this has been going on for 30 years, and maybe that's something we need to look at doing. How much is in the band fund right now that we will not be using this year?
I'd have to get a budget out.
What's it say, what's the CD say? 56,000.
That's in surplus.
Yeah.
Okay. What's it cost to run the band every year, Jimmy? Well, you got $44,000?
Last year, total expenditures were, if I'm reading this correctly, we had a total income of $50,535, and
Total expenses were $45,000.
correct.
Okay.
What we did with that raise last year, that extra $5 that we requested for the band members, we had put some stipulations with that. So not everybody got that raise. The board had met before the concert season to discuss some things that were, some of the older members were kind of aggravated with and wanted to see a little bit of change. So like the dress code, we have a dress code. It was always black pants, black shirt, or the white shirt that we provide, black socks, and no open-toed shoes. Well, that dress code kind of got laxed. So we reinstated it last year, and along with the dress code, we have an attendance policy that you have to be in your seat and ready to play at a performance by 15 minutes before. So we start at 8 o'clock, so we're requiring the band members to be there by 7:45. And at 7:45, we pull our attendance sheet. We have a person that takes care of that. They pull the attendance sheet at 7:45, and they mark down who comes in late. They keep track of who has a dress code violation, anybody that's sitting there texting during the performance or practice. When they do that, they don't get the extra $5. So we we kind of threw that in last year. We thought that maybe that would break some of the habits. One of the things that we had talked about at our last meeting, which was this past Friday, is the application process to be in the muni band. When I was growing up as a kid, it was an honor to be in a muni band. You had to really want to play, and you really had to be a good musician to play in the band. So we're going to go back to that. We're talking about going back to that application process. Some of the things on it were getting laxed. When I played, it was required that you had to be going into your sophomore year of high school to be even considered for the muni band. So we've found out since then that there's been as low as going into your freshman year playing in the band that I just found out about this past couple of weeks. So we're going to tighten up the reins on that a little bit. Our grant process, we're in the process right now of changing our application. We felt that some of the questions on the application were just not quite up to snuff or up to date. So we're updating that, and we're going to have a rough draft. We should have a rough draft at our next meeting this coming Friday, next Friday, and we're going to run it by Frank Elpers to see if there's any legal issues that we need to address with that as well.
Are there auditions for people who want to be in the band?
No, the first requirement for the muni band is that all the adults, all the past adults that have played, they get first dibs, and then we go to the college kids, and then after that it's the high school kids that have made all district, all conference, and then anybody after that. The one thing we did discuss Friday is holding the band membership down between 65 and 70 members. We're going to get with a few past band directors to find out what would be a really good balance between instrumentation, so the number of clarinets, the number of flutes, the number of trumpets, so we can get a better idea and a better balance for the band. The other thing we were going to go to back to is that all the extra applicants that didn't make the muni band, we were going to put them on an alternate list. So if one member in one section should be there for that week for going on family vacation or what have you, we can call the next person on the list in that instrumentation group to come in and fill that seat. So we would have hopefully a full complement of between 65 and 70 members.
Do you have a waiting list usually of people that want?
When John Wibbenmeyer ran the muni, was president and director of the muni band, yes, we had a waiting list.
Did you, I think maybe last year when you were here, talked about your trailer situation? You got it straightened out?
The person that owns the trailer is wanting to sell it, and he's really wanting us, the muni band, to buy it. But after the price he shot us on it, we can go out and buy a brand new one with trailer brakes.
So you're still in the process.
We're still in the process of doing that, yes. And the trailer wouldn't be used just for the German band for the 2 days at Jurda Fett. We would set it up as hauling our equipment up to the park for the performance at the city for the 4th of July, so we could carry our chairs and our instruments. What we were looking at is a 6 by 16 foot trailer. I went and looked at one a year or so ago. It had a removable drop gate on it, and it had trailer brakes. And the quote I asked for the price on it was like $2,250. The trailer that we use now wanted $2,200 for the one we're using.
Okay.
Keep that German band going, because every time it comes by, people smile.
Oh, yeah. What do you, how many times do you do something other than your concert? You're doing stuff in the community, a group is every once in a while, like for the Vets Hall and Legion Hall.
Well, we do the Memorial Day service.
Memorial Day, Veterans Day.
Sandra Cabot has asked us to play at a couple of the other festivals, the French Heritage Festival, I think they played at one of those. We do the openings for the Jury Fest naturally. And I'm not sure, but I think there was one other performance that the German band did as well.
So if we want to amend this to take some out of the CD or whatever we need to do to provide a little bit more grant money, can Jimmy get with Martin and talk about that
Yeah,
and then draft a new
well, it'd just be a
thing,
budget amendment.
whatever we have to do?
What we're asking you to amend is just to give us back the $4,250 that we took out for the raises. Because, on the grant program, we just automatically knocked $750 off the top for the Lagioni. We just automatically, we still make them go through the grant process, so we've got an idea of what the buses are gonna cost. But $750 right off the top, we just plan on giving that to the Lagioni every year. That's pretty much an unspoken grant that we just automatically decided to do.
You generally make grants to the same
To the same
organization,
groups,
but
yeah.
I don't think they should take it for granted. I think the application process should stay in effect.
And that's why we're changing the application process. One of the things on the application and there was a couple of them floating around after we got looking through our secretary's book that she keeps track of all this, that some of the grant applications had that you had to have the signage saying that it was sponsored. Some of this was sponsored by the St. Genevieve Municipal Band. That's gonna be one of the things on the application. The discussion was is how were we gonna enforce this? What kind of do we wanna come up and pay for the signage and have them come in the city hall and sign it out and then sign it back in when they return it? Because we would like to make some reusable signs. If any of you notice the signage that's on the side of the trailer for the St. Genevieve German Band is something we were kind of considering, that the organization could come in and hang that up that says sponsored by the St. Genevieve Municipal Band, and then when they were done with it, they can return it. Now, like any advertisement that they do, like the fair, any organization that does that, and they have a paper type advertisement, we're gonna require them to put that in there as well.
That's a very good idea.
Good idea.
I mean, we have some things in the works that we're trying to change, and that were some pretty good ideas at our meetings, and they've been brought up at our meetings in the past, so, we're just now, I guess, getting started on them and working on the ideas that have been tossed around.
Jim,
Sir?
one kind of quick question for you. How many years your family been involved in this band?
Well, I'm 49, so I've been involved 49. If that's any answer.
What year did your dad start?
Dad started in 1945, when they used to do the parade marches for the guys coming home in Korea. And actually, the story that my dad had given me is how the St. Genevieve Municipal Band got started was Tubby Rodemeyer, Vince Sexar, and all them older guys, Paulie Maurice, and a lot of you guys know these people, some of you don't. They started out just getting together and playing at the Weingarten Picnic and the Lawrencetown Picnic and the St. Genevieve Church Picnic when they had it years ago for beer and food. That's basically how it got started. and it's grown into what you see today every Thursday in the summer.
That's good. Can I make a motion to put this back on the agenda for next week to vote on bill number 4015 again?
You're the one that took it off, wasn't
Yeah.
you? Okay.
Yeah.
Second. Tom was the second. Does the second matter? Okay,
No.
second.
We'll vote on that.
Hey, Jimmy, I think we,
You want to take it?
You have to vote to take it off the table, you voted to put it on the
All
table.
right.
Didn't,
we,
isn't that what he just did?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just made the motion,
She just
that's
said-
seconded.
yeah,
All right.
I think we got some things accomplished here. Thanks, buddy.
I would like to add one more thing though. This is going to be our 70th season. And last year we had brought this up towards the end of the year that, we would like to do some things. We kicked around the idea of, taking another group photo. I don't know if any of you guys are aware, but there is a group photo of when the muni band first got started. It was taken on the church steps before, I guess before they put the stairs in, coming in from the sides. We're thinking about taking a picture for the new group this year. One of the other things that we had talked about was maybe getting some new polo shirts with the 70-year anniversary on them. And one of my ideas was to call back some of the old band directors like Mark Caputo, John Wibbemeyer, Bobby Dunsey, and having them come back and giving them the choice of either directing a complete concert or just directing a few numbers.
Sure.
So we've got some ideas that we've
Good.
got written down and tossed around, and I think we're gonna carry through with some of them.
Sounds good, buddy. Really does.
Yeah,
they're doing a
good job. Thank you.
Well, thank
Thanks,
you.
Jimmy.
Thanks for coming.
You bet.
You gotta vote on it.
Yeah. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Any other business? Yes, John?
I'd like to see about doing open burning for at least a month, but everybody's got cabin fever and they wanna start cleaning up now that it's nice. I think for a month or two.
Just a month at a time,
I don't think you should burn your cabin.
What?
I don't think you should burn your cabin.
Now till, you wanna do now till end of April?
Yeah. That sounds good.
All right.
Starting tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Need a
On the
motion.
weekend. Motion?
I'll make a
Second.
motion.
Second.
All in favor from now to the end of April?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Anything else?
I make a motion and we adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.